welcome to the one and only Tim Tszyu.
Hey guys, how we doing? Welcome to Talking Boxing. It is Monday, July the 7th, 2025. And as always, great to have you along. Last show for a couple of weeks. Heading off tomorrow to the States. So I know I've talked about it a lot so far, but yeah, heading off. I think the plane leaves about 3 o'clock tomorrow, so I'll be at the airport by about 12. So a little bit to talk about. I see there's a few comments in the chat already. We'll get to those pretty soon. But what do we made of all the what do we make of Sky Nicholson over the weekend? A lot of feedback about that. Harlem Eubank. I thought he was actually the brother or half brother of Chris Eubank's actually his cousin. So I apologize about that. Someone pointed out to me. So thank you. Wasn't quite sure what the relationship was there. But look, if you're new to the show, this is your show, so you determine which way we go. So comments, questions, remarks, whatever you might want to put in there, put it in the chat there. And as the title says there, let's talk some boxing. Let's start with M&M. How are you, M&M? What do you got there, mate? I saw the shotgun fight announcement, not on the Nikita card in August as we'd hoped. Yeah, I did see that. I think she's on is it an Ace Boxing show? M&M, I'll just quickly bring it up there. Look, if she's on an Ace Boxing event, you can be guaranteed it'll be a great event. So she's 25-8 and 1 draw, 12 knockouts, which is not a bad knockout ratio for a female. She's fighting, is it Jackie or Jakey Toth? Now that is August the 9th. No one else on that card as of yet. So it's at the Mansfield Tavern. I reckon I saw on the Ace Boxing Facebook page, there was a few fights that were on that, but obviously they haven't updated it yet. So Jakey Toth, 3-3. Look, I think this is one of those occasions where Shannon she just wants to fight. She doesn't care who it is. 3-3. Yeah, as I said, I don't know much about Jakey Toth, but as I said, I think it's just one of those fights where just Shannon just wants a fight. Any fight will do. And good on Jackie for putting her hand up there. I knew this one was coming. Where did I see it there? Or did I see it? Oh, yeah. Did you put it up there, M&M? Oh, about Nikita. Yeah, there it is. Also, when are we expecting full announcement of opponent, etc. for the Nikita fight this week? I'm not sure, M&M. So, when is it? August 20th. So, we're only about 6 weeks away. So, you would expect that they would announce it very, very soon. I wouldn't be surprised. Look, he's going to probably go to, or he's probably over there now, is he? I'm not sure, over in Vegas. So I would think it'd be this week. And he'll probably jump on a plane early next week and head over to Vegas, I would think. So has been a few rumours as who it's going to be. And actually, I see one of them right there with OG. I've heard it's Fathy, very risky fight if it's coming back from hand surgery. It's a very, very risky fight if that's the case, OG. I did hear that one. I'd be really surprised if that was the case. If they pick Monty, it's Monty Fathy, I think you pronounce it. He's a very, very good fighter. He's tough. I think Billy Dibb, his trainer or manager, whatever it is, would 100% back his man to beat Nikita Tszyu. That's a fight that I don't think they should be taking now. Look, there's a few other 154 pounders out there. Maybe even give him a fight at 160, whatever it might be. He's been out for a year, so. Yeah, that's a fight that doesn't make sense, OG. I'm with you there, mate. What was that one there? Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to find the comments there because they're all jumbled up at the start. What has happened to Stevie Spark? Very good question, OG. I don't know. He was retired. Then he announced he was coming back. Since then, we haven't really heard much about him, have we? I don't think I've seen much of him on social media either. I hope I follow him. I'm sure I do, but I've seen nothing, OG. Your guess is as good as mine. I'll have a quick look. I don't think it'll be the case, of course, that he's on BoxRec with anything planned, but I strongly doubt it. So the Vikings, so 16-3. No, nothing organised. So hasn't fought for 2 years. I'd love to see him come back. I think he's got a lot to offer. Not so sure he's at the real elite world level, but geez, he's fought internationally a few times now, hasn't he? And actually accounted himself very well. I just think he might just come a little bit unstuck right at that elite level when you get guys of the ilk of a Tim Tszyu who can slice and dice you. But on the peripheral of the world scene, no doubt at all. So I'm not sure. Look, there must be some more injury concerns or something, I would think, OG. But yeah, it'd be nice to have him back, wouldn't it? What have we got there? OG, I think Fathy would clean up Michael Zarafa. Yeah, well, look, at this point of their career, especially if you're someone like Michael Zarafa, you've got to take as minimal a risk as possible before you get that big fight. Now, I'm not saying he shouldn't take any risks. I'm just saying every fight's a risk, of course. But someone like Fathy who offers Michael Zarafa nothing, and probably, by the way, not much for Nikita Tszyu either, except a lot of risk. Someone like Michael Zarafa, what is he, 32, 33 years of age? He's got to wait for the Nikita fight or the Tim fight or any other big fight that comes out there. So he's got to be careful, which is why I think they'll continue to match him up with international opponents who can't really offer a lot. And there's nothing wrong with that. Plenty have done it in the past. And look, the benefits come. Look at Sam Goodman's probably won. He's got his world title shot now. Connor Wallace, to some extent, has done the same thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think Michael Zarafa's in that category of just keep active, but don't fight anyone that has any remote chance of beating you. So, and Fathy would, even though he hasn't had a lot of fights, what's he had, 6, 7, whatever it is, would present a lot of risk to Michael Zarafa. So I agree, and it doesn't make much sense, along with Nikita Tszyu. Probably more so with Michael Zarafa because he's this close to getting another big fight, whereas Nikita Tszyu is still building his career. So, yeah, we will see. There's Glenn in the chat. How are you there, Glenn? Welcome to the show. Naz, Tom's dad, Naz. Evening all. I saw Porky Lovett had a fight with Ronald Quinlan a couple of weeks ago. Is that right? I don't remember that. I used to love watching Porky when I was a boy. Thought he left boxing to spend time with his motorbike riding friends. He hasn't been around a long time, has he? Let me just have a look. Put in Ronald Quinlan's name. Look, I feel a little bit sad about Ronald Quinlan too, by the way. He's literally just become just a journeyman, a stepping stone. He had a lot of ability there at one stage. It's just sad that he's sort of fallen to that. So look, he's won, what's his record? 17-17. And since he beat Daniel Gill, hasn't really done a lot. But that fight was, when was that? Yeah, it was only at the end of last month. So he lost a unanimous decision to Daniel Porky Lovett at the Melbourne Pavilion. There you go. I didn't know that fight was even on. Who else was on that card? Alex Walters was on the card. Who else there? No one else that I sort of recognise. I recognise one, Silvani Nawai, the Fijian. I had him on my card a few years back. He's become well and truly a stepping stone for all the Aussies here now, isn't he? Silvani Nawai, I think you pronounce it. So, yeah, I'm not sure there, Naz. All right, what do we got there? I'll go back. I'll start up here. Cal Jane. How are you, Cal? Woohoo, it's Monday. Hey, mate, hope you're well. I'm getting upset with how boxing's going. It's becoming like a WWE match. All lights and glitz and no true glory, true guts, just show ponies. Well, I've been saying that for a while, Cal Jane. We will not speak of that YouTuber, though, will we? I've had a few people say, will you stop talking about him? I'm sick of him. It is boxing news. This is a boxing channel. I don't want to give him any airtime, but sometimes you just have to talk about him. I'm with you there, though, Cal. Well, yeah, look, it is entertainment. Yeah, look, I think more than ever, the sport has just been purely dictated to by obviously money, which is no surprise. But it's almost come down to what is the best product on TV or whatever it might be, or streaming services, rather than what are the best matchups and what's best for the fans. I think they just take the piss a little bit with us fans these days. They know we'll watch anyway. Speaking of that YouTuber, that's why he continues on, because we're paying millions and millions and millions, probably tens of millions of dollars are going into his pocket every fight. So why wouldn't he continue to do it? So as long as we continue to pay, this is what's going to happen, Cal. And as long as we keep entertaining the likes of Turki Al-Sheikh and what he's doing to the sport. You want to know my thoughts about that. He'll continue to do it as well, and a lot of people drop off, other promoters and everything. So, all right, Big J. What's that? Oi, mate. Yep, oi to you, Big J. Completely agree with your assessment of Sky's performance. What a joke. Now she's just a weight bully. Also, Shay Keneally is returning on July 25. July heading up to be a good boxing month. Yeah, look, as I said, I had a couple of people say I might have been a bit harsh on Sky. Again, it was nothing personal. Nothing personal at Sky as a person. It was purely based on what the hell was this girl doing in the ring with an Olympian and former world champion. 140th in the world, and I said in my walking boxing video, I didn't even think there was 140 women in that division in the whole world. And here she is ranked number 140 at that weight. And she'd never, the opponent, she'd had 9, as someone else said, oh, she's had 9 wins and eight knockouts. Yeah, but those 9 people she'd beat, or women she'd beaten, didn't have a win between them. Not between them. Let's have a quick look at her record. I don't want to keep harping on about this, and I don't want to, she's heaven forbid have more of her fans come at me, but Carla Camila Campos Gonzalez. Now, for starters, by the way, Big J, Sky didn't actually make the weight. She was 2 pounds over, so what's that, a kilo over? All right, so actually I'll go back. Sorry, I went to the event. All right, so her first loss was against a girl who was 5 and 6. Then it was a debut. Then it was 0 and 1. Then a debut. She actually, I'm going to say she actually fought a girl who was 9 and 0, but got beaten in that one. 0 and 2. She lost another one to a girl who was Lim Sandstrom. There you go. 8-3, had a win over a 0-3, 0-1, a 0-1, and then got absolutely sparked out by Sky Nicholson. Well, you know what I mean. Just stopped easily. So I don't like it. Shay Keneally, I did see that, Big J. Now let me have a look. Who is she fighting? She's defending that. Is it the WBA middleweight title? I think it is. All right. I don't think she's fought for a while, has she? No, she hasn't fought for a year. All right, that was when she actually won that belt. It's not on Box Rec, of course, because I don't recognise the WBA, but she's fighting Elri Malaysia, 6-2 and 1. All right, and coming off a loss. Just answer me that question, Big J. How do you get a world title shot coming off a loss? It was to Lani Daniels, who's a very good fighter, for the IBF heavyweight title. Holy shit. That was 2 years ago. She fought for the heavyweight title. 201 pounds she weighed. Holy shit. And in her last fight, Shay Keneally weighed 170. Do you get the feeling, I'm not going to, again, go at Shay as a person-wise, personality. Do you get this feeling this girl might be a bit short and a bit round and not fight well at all? Just an assessment. But good on Shay Keneally. I'm just going to look at this girl's record. So she's 6-2 and 1 from, she's from New Zealand. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty hard to make anything of that record, to be honest. Anyway, she only lost on points to Lani Daniels, by the way, so not a disgrace. Anyway, Big J, it's great for boxing in Australia. We've got, I keep sort of forgetting about Shay Keneally when I talk about the world champions, and full respect to her, regardless of what you think of the opponents and stuff. She has got the WBA belt around her waist, and that's cool. Great month for boxing, though, Big J. Do I know of Tony Typhoon Russell out of Ferntree Gully? No relation to Dave and Stephen. We all immigrated out of Europe on a Greek boat, mid-70s, and ended up in Ferntree Gully and Baronia. No, I don't know anyone by the name of Tony Russell. Tony, I know obviously Dave and Stephen, but I don't know of Tony. Sorry, mate. No. All right, Naz, zero interest for mine in seeing Usyk at Fury 3. I forgot about that one. Of course, Tyson Fury's been very vocal this week. A bit rich of Fury to say he wants a fair fight in his own country when both of the previous fights have been in a neutral country. Yeah. I don't agree with the results. So to make it fair, you got to come and fight in my country. I'm still the challenger, but it's got to be fair. You come and fight in England in front of 100,000 Englishmen. So I'm with you there, Naz. Look, I'm not getting excited about the fight either, I'm being honest. I just think we've been there and done that. And I just think that I can't see any way that the fight turns out any different than the first two. Look, the first fight I thought was really close. I thought it could have gone either way, but I thought the second fight, Alexander Usyk won it clearly, although Tyson Fury has said, he's watched it 250 times and he's won by 5 rounds every time and has no idea how anyone could have voted for Usyk. Well, I just thought Usyk would box beautifully in the second one. And I just don't think Tyson Fury's got anything left or anything different he can add to the mix to make this a competitive fight. Well, I take that back. It'll be competitive. This is Tyson Fury we're talking about. But I don't know what levers that Tyson Fury can pull to make the result different. Yes, he can come out aggressive. He can come out hard and try and go after Usyk, but that's just going to play into Usyk's hands. He doesn't punch hard enough. He's not that guy. Tyson Fury is not that guy that comes out there and starches people. So I think he might come out aggressive, but the way I would see it, if he does that, Usyk boxes smart for 3 or 4 rounds. Fury probably punches himself out to some extent, and then Alexander Usyk picks up the pace and wins the decision anyway. I don't see any way that Tyson Fury can alter things. If anything, Usyk showed in the second fight that after going through the first fight, great fighters like Usyk, they tweak things and adjust and make the second fight even easier, which it was. And I think the third fight might even be even more one-sided than the second fight was. So, but I'm with you there, Naz. I don't really have much interest in it. Yeah, look, I would much prefer, I know this probably sounds weird, but I would much prefer Fury and Joshua. Just to what it brings to the sport, to the England, to have 100,000 Englishmen at Wembley Stadium, that would be huge. Now, make no mistake, if it was in England, it would be massive. But Fury and Joshua at Wembley Stadium in front of 100,000, I think that's the fight to make for both guys. Let Usyk fight. He's got Dubois, of course, coming up in a couple of weeks. Let him fight maybe a Joseph Parker, maybe, I don't know, Moses Otama comes up or a Wardy, whatever. I don't know, or maybe just retire. But I think the Fury, Dubois, Joshua chapters ends after this fight with Dubois. And then, it's maybe a fight with Parker and that's it. Or just, or retire now. Either way. But I'm with you, mate. I have no interest in that at all. All right. All right, Naz. I've heard people saying if Usyk wins, he should fight Fury again. Yep, sorry, same comment. Yep. And if Dubois wins, it should be the AJ rematch. How frustrating if you're Joseph Parker, hoping the WBO call the mandatory straight away. Yeah, look, the other thing I did mention the other day, Naz, is that if Dubois happens to beat Usyk, the odds are there'll be a trilogy. But if not, then Dubois versus Fury would be a big fight too. I have no interest in seeing Dubois and AJ again, just like I had no interest in seeing Usyk and Fury. And you're right, how frustrating for Joseph Parker. We have other fighters in other divisions getting world title shots, even in the heavyweight division sometimes, getting shots they don't deserve. And then you've got someone like Joseph Parker who has wound back the clock to, the old days, as we say, and has earned his shot the old-fashioned way by actually being active and winning against other credible opponents, other contenders. And he's been frozen out. So I think, to me, Naz, if everything went the way I think it should, I think the way is the right way is that Usyk beats Dubois and then gives Joseph Parker his shot. And if Dubois happens to win, then he gives Joseph Parker a shot as well. But as I said, what's going to happen if Dubois wins? It's going to be a trilogy. That's when we could actually see these two fight again, Usyk and Dubois. That's probably when we would see Fury and Joshua. But again, it doesn't change the fact that poor old Joseph Parker's left out in the cold. Yeah, not good, mate. I agree. What do we got there? Thanks, Cal. Yep. Safe travels. Yep. Thank you, mate. What happened to my wrist? Yeah, I did actually explain this a few weeks ago, Cal, but just to cut a long story short, well, I'm in the bottle shop business, and one night I was working at one of the bottle shops we have. We've got 3. And I was working that night, and some piece of shit decided he'd grab what was on the counter and run. And of course, like some idiot, I ran down the street after him and got him and come a cropper, headbutted the ground, cut my eye open, damaged my wrist. Thankfully, it's not broken though. That's what or fractured. I'm really happy about that. It was just badly jarred and sprained, so I've just got to wear this for another couple of weeks and I'll be good. Still pretty tender, but I'm really glad that it's not fractured or broken. So that's what I did, mate. I was apprehending a shoplifter and come off second best. I did get him, though. I did get him. I come off second best, though. All right. It's that great still doing the show tonight, considering you're leaving for US tomorrow. We appreciate it. No worries, Paul. My pleasure, mate. Well, what else am I going to do? I still haven't packed yet, so I better do that, I suppose. Haven't really done anything, to be honest. I know what I'm doing. Actually, the only thing I have done, by the way, is I've charged everything. So I've got everything ready to go. It's just beside me here. Headphones. I've got the ones for the plane, the big ones. I've got the Apple Buds that you can wear just around. Got my iPad. What else have we got there? My camera. Got the camera there. And the microphones. And what else have we got there? And some chargers and all that sort of stuff. So I'm ready to go that way. Have checked in, so that's good. And yeah, I'm all set to go. So I'm all good, mate. Thank you. Big J, just like you a couple of weeks ago, I got a sore hand. What did you do, mate? The missus dragged me out to the nightclubs and 2 blokes got inappropriate with her, so I punched them out. Told the chump and now he's running. Is that real, Big J? Oh, jeez. I don't think I was just going to say, I don't think I'd do that. Not that I would probably go out to a club or anything like that. We don't do that, my wife and I. But I was just going to say, I don't think I'd find myself in a confrontation at a club. But hey, you got to do what you got to do when someone talks inappropriate to your better half. So I totally get where you're coming from, mate. But you punched them. So what did you do? Same as me, is it? Just jarred your hand, or is it fractured? What is it? So, all right. Still undecided about my pick for Tim's fight. I'm actually just leaning to Fundora. What's everyone else's pick? Look, I'm going to lean to Tim. I think Tim gets the job done, but I don't think, I've said numerous times on here, I don't think it's going to be easy at all for Tim. And a lot of people base their opinions on 2 rounds from the first fight. But the fact that it was a split decision last time and Tim literally fought blinded, could not see, with the pretty much like the blood that's all sticky and gooey and hot and all running into your eyes and everything else, and he still managed to lose a split decision that could have gone either way. That's why I'm going to back Tim in the fight. Having said that, I think Sebastian Fundora has improved. I know he's only had the 1 fight since he fought Tim, but I just think when you've got the belts around your waist, you do walk a little bit taller, and I think it's going to be a tough one. But I think Tim wins the fight. I think I've sort of said all along, I don't think he'd stop Fundora. He'll probably win on points. But the more I think about it, I think he can stop Sebastian Fundora. I really do. Whether he goes for it, maybe he's happy just to pick his way to a decision win. He did say that the hardest thing about fighting Fundora is the fact not only is he, 6'6", 6'7", whatever he is, southpaw as well, but he said it's his work rate. He never stops working. And if you watch him, I watched some highlights of him today, and he's dead right. You don't sort of realise he's always there. He's always in front of you. He's pick. Not always punching, but he's always got an arm out in front of you or doing something. He's busy. And when you've got a guy who's aggressive and is a southpaw and 6'6", and he doesn't really stop working, that's tough. And that's what Tim said was probably the hardest thing about fighting him last time, was just the work rate that he fights at. So I'm sure, having said that, Tim's almost giving away, I suppose a little bit of the plan, hasn't he? That he's worked on that. I'm no doubt he's had lots of sparring partners go through one after the other and making him work 3 minutes of every round. So I think he'll be okay. And yeah, well, I've said all along it's make or break for Tim. I'm thinking he wins this fight, and I think he can stop Sebastian Fundora late, but it will be tough. But 50-50 for me, mate, but we'll see. Double G, what do you get there, mate? Hope you had a great weekend. I'll never tire of seeing Mundine shimmy in front of Green on the intro. Confidence just off the charts. Yeah. I don't think Danny Green would probably like that too much, but who can forget that fight? I probably need to update the intro a little bit. I probably need to get a few more fights on there. I've had it for about 3 years, but I'm with you there, mate. And seeing the smile on Anthony Mundine's face, he really got into Danny Green's head, didn't he? Julian, how are you, mate? Same as Sky. She just wants to fight. Probably no one wants to fight her. No, I don't think it's that, mate. I think when you got Matchroom behind her, I think they wouldn't have any trouble forking out the money to get someone decent, mate. Look, I think it was just an easy pick gone wrong. I think they've probably got onto a matchmaker or an agent or whatever it might be and said, look, we need someone with a half-decent record. who Sky can can look good at 122. I've done it myself. I've had agents and all that in the past, and you tell them your requirements, and they send them to you. You might watch a little bit of them on YouTube or whatever, but sometimes they look better than what they are in real life, and I reckon that's what's happened here. I think I won't say it's a cherry pick, but I think it's an easy pick gone really wrong. I think they've said to the agent, hey, as I said, good record, looks the part, can maybe stand up for a few rounds against Sky, give her a confidence boost, but she's turned up and just been horrible, Julian. And that 9-3 record was just totally misleading, and it was just target practice. She had absolutely no idea how to even hold her hands up or to block a punch, or let alone slip a punch or even throw a punch. It wasn't good, Julian. And I'm not saying anything personal against Sky. Nothing at all. I've met her numerous times. She actually fought on one of my cards once as an amateur. We had an all-female amateur card. I don't know why we did that, but we had like 25 female fights during the day, because that's what I used to do on my promotions. We'd have an amateur event during the day. In Victoria, you can't have pro-am. So what we would do is have a standalone amateur show at the venue that day. We would shut the venue, everyone would go home, we'd close for a couple of hours, and then we'd reopen it for the pro show. That's the way we sort of got around it. And she fought on that, and I've spoken to her numerous times, and she seems nice enough, but it's got nothing to do with that. This is about the fight. That girl should not have been in the same ring with someone like Sky, who, as I said before, was an Olympian, former world champion. It just should not have happened, mate. So. And look, I'm hoping that Sky would have got out the ring and say, hey, come on, guys, you can do better than that for me. But, it is what it is, and she's going to have to wear that. She gets a lot of pats on the back, Sky, and for good reason. But when her and her team decide to take a fight like this, Julian, I think you've got to wear a bit of flack. All right, Naz says, I've got Tim. I think he'll fight smarter, take his time, and chop that big body down this time, yeah. I've got a feeling it'll probably start the same way as the first fight, Naz. I think you'll see Fundora probably come at him like he did the first fight, and I think you'll see this time Tim be really patient, really pick his punches. Obviously, watch out for flying elbows, although I don't think anything he could have done in that last fight would have stopped that. I mean, it come down sort of in a chopping action, didn't it? But, I think you'll see a patient Tim, and I think you'll see him really pick his shots, especially early, really start to ping Fundora, and I think as the fight goes on, I think you might see Tim really step it up and hopefully get him out of there. I think he's one good thing about, if there's anything good to come out of the Murtazaliev fight, is that I think Tim learned that he's not as bad as probably he thought he was. And this is, I've spoken about it a lot of times here in Australia. The backslappers and the Australian media are all over you. And I just think he expected it to happen. We've gone over it ad nauseum, the Murtazaliev fight, so I won't go over it again. But I think the good thing to come out of that Murtazaliev fight is that Tim walked away and went, holy shit, that's another level. Now, I know he'd fought Mendoza and Harrison and then Fundora to some extent, but he got a bit of a leave, or not a leave pass, just a pass on the Fundora fight. I think the Murtazaliev fight was really a wake-up call to him, which is why I think in this fight, you're going to see really patient, calculated Tim Tszyu who's on a mission. And I think he'll pick his shots, make them count, and I think he'll, as you said there, I think he'll chop Fundora down and maybe stop him late. Glenn, Chock Jr. is on the Gallen-Williams card. I'm interested in seeing how he is. Okay, I probably won't watch that fight, Glenn. It's on Stan. I don't have Stan. I'm certainly not going to get it to watch that fight. But as I said, I've said in the past numerous times, I'm a fan of Paul Gallen because he hasn't pretended to be a sort of, a WBE, the World Boxing Entertainment fighter, probably like a Sonny Bill Williams had. He's always tried to keep it real and fight 3-minute rounds, 10-round fights, and I've got a lot of respect for Paul. He always comes to fight. So I won't watch it, but I'm hoping he gets the win, and we'll check out Chock Jr. as well. All right, Double G. Sky taking cues from Par when it comes to choosing opponents. Disgusting. And yet the Sky Army saying she's back and ready for a title shot. Yeah, that's the thing. And that's why I just laugh when you get a few comments that have a bit of a crack here. I just laugh at them, Double G, because what do they call them? Simps? Is that the word? Simps? That's it. It's not really a word from my generation, but that apparently it's how you describe the devoted fans, we'll call them. Look, again, I don't blame Sky entirely. I think look, maybe Eddie Hearn might have maybe looked into a bit more, but he's focused on the main event of the day. So normally what happens with those big shows, of course, the promoter's heavily involved in the main event. A lot of times the co-main, but then what happens with a lot of the undercard, it just gets left to someone else, and they talk to agents and everything else, and they just match them up. And as I said before, I think it was just an easy pick or an easier pick gone wrong. The Jazzy Parr one, I had differing opinions. Double G, I know the tie was a replacement, and sort of semi-late, but she wasn't super late. It wasn't a last-minute thing. And they went out of their way to get the tie in, especially when you had Shannon O'Connell saying, hey, I'm ready to go. Just put my name in there and I'm ready. And they didn't go for that. And they've deliberately chosen the tie, and they got what they deserved. And that was being embarrassed on national TV by getting her on there and fighting Jazzy Parr. And again, it's probably not Jazzy Parr's fault, although they could have easily said, hey, we'll take the Shannon O'Connell fight. And they didn't. They wanted the easier touch. I just don't like seeing it. I really don't. I thought we'd sort of gone past that here in Australia with these types of fights. I just never thought I would see it on a no-limit televised card. I really didn't. That they would know what they're getting. She's known to Australia. She's fought numerous Aussies here, but been smashed by all of them. What would possess them to think that she's willing and able and capable of fighting someone like Jazzy Parr? Doesn't make sense. A No Limit should have said to Jazzy Parr and her team, it's Shannon O'Connell or you're off the card. We'll get your fight on a future card. Or go fight on someone else's card. That's what they should have said. So, and that's what I would expect of the biggest promoters in the country. And I still say that was a lot more embarrassing than Sky Nicholson's fight, Double G. But either way, both of them are not great when you're trying to grow women's boxing, in my opinion. What do you got there, Sam? Hang on, I've lost my way there. All right. When is what, Sam? You've got when is full stop. Finish the sentence there, mate. All right, Glenn, I sort of agree. Just think Fundora is growing in confidence and skill. I got no doubt he'll be a lot better fighter than what he was a year ago, Glenn. But I think, look, the thing is Tim going to be as good as fighter as he was back then, or is he going to be better? Now, we could easily say he's going to be better. No, he's learned from the fight. He had that good win over Joey Spencer. But hey, in the meantime, he had not just the mental scars a little bit from the cut on the head, but that Murtazaliev fight, I sort of liken a little bit to, I know we're talking movies and stuff, but that first fight with Rocky and Clubber. I mean, Clubber really laid a beating on Rocky. Now, he was able to come back. Is Tim able to do it as well, even though it's a different opponent? But I'm with you there, Glenn. I think Fundora's definitely grown in confidence and skill. But I just think a year on with that experience, especially, as I said, that Murtazaliev fight that he had, I think it's going to hold him in good stead. Strangely enough, it will hold him in good stead, and I think he'll learn from it, and that's why I'm backing him to beat Sebastian Fundora, mate. But again, it will not be easy. Hello, Bacon and Eggs. Welcome to the show, mate. Naz, agreed, but I have a feeling the Shordale Booker fight made him look better than he is. Yeah, well, Shordale Booker was a shocker, wasn't he, Naz? Yeah, look, but is it any different to saying that Tim had a great win over Joey Spencer? I thought that proved nothing. Actually, it did prove a little bit. I was impressed that Tim really took his time in that fight. Really happy that he did that and was patient. That's probably the only thing I took out of it. But it's no different, in my opinion, Naz, that Shordale Booker was to Fundora what Spencer was to Tim. I didn't take much from that fight at all. And look, in a perfect world, I would have liked Tim to maybe have one more fight. But hey, this is a redemption at Sebastian Fundora, so I totally get it that he's taken the fight. And I'm confident he'll win it. But yeah, I'm not getting carried away with Tim's fight either, mate, as well as I didn't get carried away with that one. What's that? Just a bit worried, is it? About Tim's confidence, just a gut feeling. Yeah, well, no, it's a good gut feeling there, Glenn, for sure. Double G, Fundora seems very confident and training hard in that latest gloves off episode. It will be a very interesting fight, and maybe not the dominance that Tim showed in those early rounds. Yeah, well, as I keep saying, Double G, it was 2 rounds. This is why it's a 12-round fight. Now, the one fight that really comes to mind when I think of this is that who was the guy that Sabriel Matias fought? I'm just going to type his name in BoxRec for a second. I think it might have been before he fought Liam Paro. And he was I think he was a Chechenian, wasn't he? He had the beard and everything. It was, what was it? No, it must have been before that. There it is. Hang on. Shoajon Ergashev. Now, don't laugh at me. I have a problem with these guys. It was on a card. It was a big card. Let me just have a look and see what. It was David Benavides and Demetrius Andrade. That's right. And he fought whatever his name was. And in the first round, we'll call him the Chechenian. I can't even pronounce that right, can I? The Russian, whatever he is, the Chechenian, absolutely lit Matias up in the first couple of rounds. Matias couldn't lay a glove on him. And then as the fight went on, I think it went 6 rounds. Yes, it went 6 rounds. By the 6th round, he'd made him quit the other way around. So that's why I've taken nothing out of this whole, well, look what he did from the first 2 rounds. Yes, no doubt, he lit him up. But Fundora, like a good fighter, even though the cut happened, of course, steadied and got back on track and got his way back into the fight. I know the whole complexion of the fight changed after the cut. I understand that. But that's the thing I think of when people talk about this. I've seen plenty of fights where someone's dominated the first 2, 3, 4 rounds and then the other guys come back. So that's why I'm not totally discounting Fundora. But again, I think Tim Tszyu wins the fight. All right. Naz has the same reservations, just hoping the background fight woke him up and made him focus on some deficiencies. Yep. Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing that, as I said, mate, that came out of the Joey Spencer fight. Tim was very patient. Even when he had him hurt, I was really impressed by that. Even when he got Spencer hurt and you could see that that was probably going to be it, he was methodical and calculated and really picked his shots and that's probably the reason why he got Spencer out of there. I think if he had got wild and went after Spencer, which is pretty much what he did against Tony Harrison, even though that was a great knockout in the end, wasn't it? And the Campo fight. When you watch the Campo fight, and even to some extent the Harrison fight, when he got them hurt, he sort of lost all focus, or what would you call it? Balance. I'm not sure, but the chin went up in the air, throwing punches from the hips and his waist. Where when he got Spencer hurt, it was all business. Chin down, hands up. I'm going to pick my shots. I'm going to get you out of there. And that's the thing I'm hoping that he's learnt from that fight. And I think if he gets Fundora hurt, I think he can get him out of there. And you're right about the Buckram fight. Maybe that was another very hard lesson to learn, Naz, where he's learnt that you just can't go in there and bomb these guys out, because this is why they're all world champions for a reason. What happened with Tyson Pedro? And thoughts on his Chris Terzievsky's new opponent, Troy Pilcher. Well, that Tyson Pedro thing happened a few weeks ago, didn't it, Richard? I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know whether it was a money thing or whatever the hell it was. I can't remember. Something to do with the contract, I reckon, Richard, which is ironically what happened in the first time they were supposed to fight with Terzievsky. As far as Terzievsky and Troy Pilcher, I think, Richard, I think Terzievsky wins that fight pretty easily. Troy Pilcher's actually been trained by the Opatai, so look, that might maybe improve him a little bit. But from what I've seen of both fighters so far, I think Terzievsky wins that fight pretty comfortably, mate. All right, Asbot. Hi, everyone. Having pre-fight jitters with Tim's fight. It'll effing suck if he loses. I've got to have a bit more faith. Have some faith, Asbot. He'll be fine, mate. You've probably all seen the social media stuff so far with him over there in Vegas. I think he only would have got there yesterday or even this morning or whatever, but seems in pretty good spirits, seems very confident. What I like about him so far, sometimes it's just the body language. There's just to me, it just seems he's there and he's just all business. He's not, well, so far anyway, not enjoying the sights. Call it just a hunch, a gut feeling, as someone said before. He just looks to me to be there and he just means business. And I hope that comes out on fight night. What a card to be on, though. To be on the undercard of Manny Pacquiao and Barrios, MGM Grand. I mean, he headlined at the T-Mobile. Now he's at the MGM Grand. Jesus, just bucket list things being ticked off left, right, and centre, isn't it? All right, what do we got there? Asbot. As Canelo Bud draws near, I'm actually getting excited. Have dissed the fight previously. Am I crazy for leaning towards Crawford? You're not crazy at all, Asbot. There's more and more people that are picking Crawford. Look, what a lot of people are basing it on, though, is Canelo's, his last fight. And I think that's just the worst way to look at it. And I was one of them. and one of them that wasn't impressed with Canelo's fight. But what you got to look at, we've spoken about it on here. I mean, to be in a foreign country, fighting at 7 o'clock in the morning, no fans in the crowd, there's a few Mexicans, but none of that fan base to roll you up, an opponent that doesn't want to run. I just thought Canelo was like, look, if you want to run, I'll just chase you around. We'll follow you, not really chase. I'll follow you around for 12 rounds. I'll just get my paycheck and go home. That's what I thought from that fight. But are we forgetting that how sort of ordinary that Crawford looked in his last fight against Madrimov? Now, on the flip side of that, I also think we can't judge Crawford on that fight either, because I don't think he wanted the fight. I think it was just the only half-decent fight around. He had a belt, of course. Only half-decent fight around that was available and was prepared to get in with him. We've heard that it was going to be Tim, but we all saw what happened with him. So I think it was just an uninspired, uninterested Crawford that fought in that fight. This is why it's really appealing to me, because I reckon we're going to get a really switched-on Canelo, who's going to be really on a mission to get Crawford out of there. And I think he's going to see him wind back the clock a little bit. Because let's face it, it's not like he took any punishment in his last fight, and barely any punishment in his last few fights. So he's going to be fresh. And he's been active as Canelo. And as I said, I think the fact that a lot of people are picking Crawford, and Crawford's got the audacity to want to go up and challenge him 2 weights above his normal weight, or even 3 when you think about it. He's only had the one fight at 154. I think he's going to take exception to that, and I think he's going to be ready to go. But as I said, with Crawford, is he going to draw on, a lot of people not giving him a chance either? And with the weight, I think a lot of it comes down for me is what emphasis Crawford puts on his training. If he beefs up and wants to be as strong as Canelo, he's in all sorts. I think he'll get stopped. But if he does a little bit like what Sugar Ray Leonard did when he went up 2 divisions to face Marvin Hagler, and might put on some natural weight, but focuses on speed and movement and everything else, and explosiveness, rather than trying to outmuscle Canelo. And he puts on maybe goes up to 163, 164, whatever it might be, even 165, but it's a good weight, and it's allowed him to keep his speed and his movement and his explosiveness. That's going to be a Crawford that's going to be hard to beat. So I'm really excited about it too, Asbot. I think it's going to be a fascinating fight. And I don't really know who I'm going to pick at this stage. I totally agree with everyone that's picking Canelo, but I can agree with those that are picking Crawford as well. But either way, it's going to be massive, mate. And what are we, a couple of months away? So I'm sure it'll, as the momentum builds, it's going to get very exciting once all the 24/7 shows and all that start as well. All right. Loving Bud's new YouTube channel. Okay, I didn't know he had a YouTube channel. Lots of his old fights and some good behind-the-scenes stuff. Okay, that's cool. That's really good. I wish more sports people would do that, Naz. It's a good idea. Really, I know a lot of them have Instagram and all that sort of stuff, but have properly produced videos to put on there. I think it's awesome. All right, Ado, are you anticipating any surprise results on the New York City card this weekend? Keen to hear your thoughts on how the Puello-Matias fight will play out. That's a really tough fight to pick, Ado. I'm thinking Puello could pull the upset in that. I'll probably stick with Matias, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if Puello wins that fight. For the rest of the card, all right, so who we got on? So on Friday night, we've got the girls. I'll just have a quick look at that. I know a lot of you will roll your eyes and say, who cares? But, hey, it's a massive card for the girls, so I'm going to have a look at it. All right. The Pride of Ireland. All right. So, Katie Taylor. So, 24-1. Amanda Serrano, 47-3. Well, that's a lot of fights for a female, isn't it? 51 fights. So, that's for the undisputed 140-pound title. Ali Scottney and Mikado would be a really good fight. That's for the, 22-pound titles. You got Alicia Baumgartner and Jennifer Miranda. That's for all the belts at 130, which will be a ripper. Savannah Marshall, great to have her back. That's for the super middleweight world title. Shanika Johnson, of course, fighting for all the belts at 118. And then throw in Chantel Cameron against Jessica Kamara as well. So that is some massive fights. I know we went over this last week or the week before, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 world title fights and 1 interim world title fight. So I'm really looking forward to it. Then on the Saturday, actually out of those, I think Serrano could pull the upset in that one, Ado, if you're talking about surprise results. I'm not so sure about a lot of the other fights on the card. Throw a coin up, I suppose. As for the Saturday night card at Flushing Meadows, I think Zepeda could beat Stevenson. I think that's definitely a possibility. Not so sure that Aussie Iman Katayev can beat David Morrell. Let's have a quick look at that card as well. All right, so I would probably think on this one. So hang on, I'll bring him up there. Shakur Stevenson, where's the event? All right, so I think Zepeda can beat Stevenson. Can, I didn't say will, I think he can. I'm not quite sure I'm game enough to go against Shakur Stevenson, but I think Zepeda can win if he fights the right fight. And that right fight is just all-out attack. Cut Stevenson off. Do not allow Stevenson to dictate the tempo and the pace and do what he wants. Zepeda has to get on his chest and make him work for 12 3-minute rounds. If he allows Stevenson just to dictate from center ring, he's in all sorts of trouble. Zepeda will just get outboxed over 12 rounds. So I think we're going to see Zepeda. I don't think he knows any other way. I think even if he's wearing a couple of punches coming, he's going to go for Stevenson. So I think a very winnable fight for him. As I said, I think Puello is a big shot or big opportunity to beat Matias. I was just about to say to take the belt. He's actually the champion at the moment, isn't he? Matias is challenging him. So Puello is 24-0 from the Dominican Republic. Only the 10 knockouts. So some good wins though. Sandor Martin, Gary Russell, good wins in his last couple of fights. Then you've got Supriel Matias, who surprisingly he's had, what's he had? This is his 3rd fight since losing to Liam Paro. So he's in good form as well. As I said, and I think he's capable is Puello, but I think I'm not game enough to say he'll actually win that fight. Again, David Morrell over Katayev. You would probably expect Morrell to win, but let's see what Aussie Iman has. And who else is on? Oh, and Hamza Shiraz, of course, over Belunga. That is a really hard fight to pick. I'm not sure who to tip in that fight. I'm going to just back Belunga, but geez, if Shiraz is a lot stronger at the weight, and he is a good boxer. I know he looked pretty ordinary his last fight against Adames, but I think he's capable of beating Belunga. Maybe that could be a surprise, Shiraz beating Belunga, but we'll see. I just think Belunga's a big, big guy. That's probably where the difference is going to be. But either way, mate, going to be a fascinating weekend of boxing. I can't believe it's hard to believe that we're sitting here now and we're talking about fights this weekend, and I'm going to be there for both shows. It's hard to get my head around. I was talking about this morning on Walking Box, and hang on, it's this weekend. Sort of talking as if it's the following weekend, but in 4 days' time, it'll be all happening, 5 days' time, happening in New York, that Friday night show. And don't forget, it's free on Netflix, which will be awesome. What's that? Have you ever attended a Fred Brophy tent extravaganza? A few mates and I had the pleasure. Mid-90s, pretty full-on and close to being out of control. I don't know how they operate, Tony. Do they still operate? I don't know. I've never been to one. I know Isaac Harbin, 41, was a couple of years ago. Geez, would you just be spewing if you come up against Isaac Harbin if you're one of those tent fighters? I don't know how they get around in this day and age, Tony, if it is the case, because obviously you need medicals and all this sort of stuff. So if it's going on, I would think it's illegal unless it's out in the outback and there's no laws out there. I don't know, but no, I haven't attended one, mate. Andrew actually got the Arvo off, so can watch from the start. Good stuff, mate. By the way, how about entering Shannon Taylor in the next Dream Fight debate? I sparred a few rounds, a lot of rounds with Shannon. Well, mate, he was a killer back in the day, wasn't he, Shannon Taylor? And I'm with you, mate. And look, in hindsight, someone else sent me a message. Might have been my old mate Justin Crawford. Actually said, why didn't I think of Shannon Taylor to fight Liam Paro, which would have been a really good fight. I didn't even give it a thought. I put Barry Michael in with him, but Shannon Taylor would have been a fantastic fight for Liam. Justin Rousel was another one I was going to throw in there with Liam as well. But yeah, no, it's a good call, Shannon. Well, again, send me or put on here some of the Aussie Dream fights you'd like to see, and we'll do another chapter of Aussie Dream fights for sure. But yeah, I can't. There's been so many really good fighters over the years, Andrew. It's really hard. It was really just based on the current top 10 against opponents from yesteryear that sort of they measured up to equally. But if you want to see other fights where we don't worry about whether you're a former fighter or a current fighter, just match them up against each other, 100% we'll put Shannon Taylor in there. Actually, Shannon Taylor and Justin Rousel would be a pretty good fight, wouldn't it? Two of the ex-amateur stars. Shiraz Belunga is the main event. Yes, it is, Glenn. It is, if you can believe that. I would have thought that Shakur Stevenson and Zepeda would be the main event. I'd even almost put Puello and Matthias above Shiraz and Belunga. It's not even for a world title, is it? No, it's not. So it's got me buggered. So we've got the WBC lightweight title, WBC super lightweight title. Yeah, how is a non-title? I think what it comes down to, actually, I'll just answer my own question, really. Turki Al-Sheikh loves Shiraz, which is why this would be the main event, I would say. Glenn says, God, I wish Fury would just vanish. He's boring now. Have his fight with AJ and retire. Couldn't have said it any better there, Glenn. 100% agree with you, mate. I think we're all a little bit tired. I think we used to find it funny with Tyson Fury, and he's a lovable big guy and the Gypsy King, all that sort of stuff. But I think it's now, like, mate, just put up or shut up. I'm sick of seeing your stuff on social media. Sick of seeing you continually just talk it up and enter yourself into the equation, a week or 2 weeks out from the heavyweight title fight. Mate, I don't want to see or hear anything from you unless you're saying, hey, I'm back and I want to fight such and such. So that's what I would like, mate. Just fight AJ Tyson. It's the fight for you. All right, Glenn, and if Turkey backs the Fury-Usyk fight, he's not the guy that everyone was hoping he was. Well, I agree with you, mate. You don't have to convince me of that. I agree. Shakur by boredom, I guess. I got a feeling that the fight's going to be entertaining, Glenn. Although, having said that, we probably thought that Ramirez against Haney might be semi-entertaining. Garcia and Ramiro, we thought it would be entertaining, and look what happened there. But I've just got a feeling that Zepeda doesn't know any other way except straight ahead. I'd be surprised if he just allowed Shakur to run and box and move for 12 rounds. But it's also probably a test on how good a fighter Zepeda is. Maybe he's not good enough to cut Shakur off and make him fight. Maybe all the fights he's had in the past have been sort of cherry-picked for him. It's made him look good. Let's see if he can get the job done by cutting Shakur off. Big assignment for him, and it's a tough one. Pretty sure Shakur Zepeda is co-main. Yeah, it makes no sense. So, yeah, it doesn't make any sense, mate, at all. Yep, Turkey must have had his influence on that. That's exactly right, Ado. Ross, have you got the bucket hat ready? Yes. I actually haven't got it here. I've got the boxing deep dive bucket hat at the ready there, Ross. I've got a feeling I'm going to need it because I looked at the temperatures today. New York's not so bad. It's I think it's in the, hang on, I'll have a quick look. I've got it here. I think it's in the low 30s, I think, while I'm there, which is good. Where is it? New York. There it is. So it will, actually, it's going to be cool. Oh, geez, it looks like it's raining every day I'm there. So when I get there, it's 65% of rain. It's 30 degrees though. 75% on the Thursday, 75% on the Friday, and 55% on the Saturday of chance of rain. So the odds are it's going to be wet, but it's going to be mid-20s, 24, 25, 26 while I'm there. But the other place is going to be probably 35 in Albuquerque and Tombstone, and not New York, Las Vegas is going to be 42 to 43 degrees every day I'm there. Probably it might even be a little bit hotter by that stage. So I think, Ross, as you know better than anyone, we went away together in 2018 for the Horn and Crawford fight in Vegas. That was mid-June, I think. This is going to be hotter. So as you know, the casinos are the best places to be. So I think it might be a good opportunity just to sit in a nice air-conditioned casino all day, maybe play some poker or something like that, I reckon. Maybe have a few brewskis. Only time I drink is when I go away. So, and only then it's only a 2 or 3. So, all right. Belunga seems the type to sook it up unless he's the main. I just can't take to him, those. I'm just not a fan of his at all. Belunga, this whole gangster persona that he's got. Come on, mate. Just be a fighter. Okay, you get the respect of everyone by being a gangster in the ring, not outside the ring, with the glasses and these hip-hop clothes and all that sort of stuff. Not a fan at all, Naz. And I'll probably on the night, I'll be hoping that Shiraz wins that fight. Again, I'm not overly excited by that fight, if I'm being honest. It's the other 3 fights that I'm really looking forward to. Stevenson and Zepeda, Kataev and Morel, and Puello and Matias. Good fights. This weekend, Glenn, yes, certainly is. I think Shiraz gets that. Belunga is annoying, that's for sure, mate. Shakur, Zepeda, Puello, Matias, and Morel, Kataev. Good card. Yep. I've seen him fight a couple of times, Glenn. He's very capable. I'm just looking at his record now. So he's 24-0. I think I said before that he's had good wins over Sandor Martin and or Martin, or however you want to pronounce it, and Gary Antoine Russell. I'm just looking at the rest of his record. I don't think he's really had any fights of note. But he's, as I said, from the Dominican Republic. Tallish for a 140-pounder. What is he? 177. So what's that, about 5'8", 5'9", I think it is. So, yeah, he can fight. Not a bad fighter at all, mate. And I think, it's a tough one. It's going to be good. The betting is even with Mateus, so I take it he's good. Yep, that's for sure. Tim will get the hat trick. What's that? I gave him $1. Hi, peeps, from an ice-cold SA. Hurry up, Spring. I can't take too much more of this. What's the temperature over there, mate? Here, where I live at the moment, today was 8 degrees. Tomorrow is going to be 8 as well. Heat wave coming up on Friday, though. It's going to be 12. So there you go. All right, Naz. Puello is good. He's beaten Gary Russell and Sandor Martin. Yep, in his last 2, both awkward fighters. I reckon he beats Mateus. Okay. All right, Andrew, having said all that, Fundora is a bloke who loves his boxing too. He believes it's his destiny too. Not an easy fight for anyone. Go, Tim. Yeah, well said there, mate. What's that, Drew? Great show as always. Watching, listening from Jakarta. Good stuff, mate. You're over there on holidays, are you? Good stuff. I'm sure it's nice and warm over there, Drew. So enjoy the sunshine there, mate. Mutzi, can you see Tim focusing more on the body this time around? Good question, Mutzi. Probably not. I don't know. Tim's not necessarily a big body punching type of guy, is he? Or is he? No, I don't think he is. He can go to the body. He ironed out Stevie Spark with a body shot, didn't he, from memory? Maybe. I would have thought though it would be later in the fight, though, Mutzi. I think early on he's going to want to get his range and get close to Fundora. I wouldn't be surprised if he waits until maybe the 5th or 6th round before he starts targeting the body. If he tries to get in close early in the fight, I think Fundora is just going to pick him off and have success early. So my strategy, if I was in Tim's shoes, would be to really fight at a really good pace early, try and get close to Fundora, make him work, get in close, and then, as I said, after that 5th or 6th round, really start to bang the body, and maybe you can break him down and cut down the towering inferno. What are we up there? All right, Drew. A bad day is forgettable, but a horrendous day is a lesson. I think there were plenty of lessons learned from Tim Tszyu in his fights with Fundora and Murtazalov. Yep, good way to look at it there, Drew. Richard, Paul Gallen showed heart against Justice Honey and always respected the bloke. He always supports local fighters. Yeah, I'm with you there, Richard. I've got a lot of respect for Paul Gallen. And I saw him live once. He actually got beaten by Tszyu. That was up in Newcastle. And again, showed plenty of heart. I think he was just probably a little bit dumb by that stage. But to go 10 rounds with Justice Honey, and he got stopped in the last round, but just a ton of heart, ton of guts. He had no right to be going 10 rounds with Justice Honey. No right whatsoever. And he barely won a round, but he was tough as nails. And I remember thinking that night, this guy is, you got to give him his kudos. Because, as I said, Justice Honey is an unbelievable talent. And was stopping guys left, right, and centre back then, by the way. And Gallen went hard with him for 10 rounds before falling in the last round. So, Glenn, yep, I rate Gallen. He's got some solid skills and he's tough as hell. And he's made $30 million in boxing. Smart as well. Is that right? $30 million. Holy shit. All right, Peter, get it out of your system, mate. The black and white hearts. I really wish, Peter, I had something to come back at you with. I have nothing. So whatever insults you want to give me, whatever barbs you want to throw my way, mate, I have nothing. I'm just going to have to cop it on the chin. They were pretty good, the Pies, mate. I don't know whether they were that good or the Blues were that bad, mate, but just disgraceful and embarrassing. by Carlton. I know they had a lot of kids in the team, but it doesn't matter who you got in the team, Peter. It just comes about effort. And I hate to say it, but geez, I wish we were more like Collingwood. Just some semblance of a club with system and belief and structure and heart. The Blues have got none of that, mate. But hey, one thing about the Blue Baggers, we always turn up. Still 75,000 at the crowd last week. I think as the season goes on, though, you might see a few less at the Blues games, I think. I think they've had enough. All right, Haney versus Norman later in the year for me is a genuine 50-50 fight. I have Haney winning by a razor-thin decision, only based on greater experience. Yeah, Drew, I must admit, I've been really surprised by the amount of experts, journalists, fans, whoever, who've just completely written Haney off and just said that Norman will knock him out. I can't see it. I'm with you. I think it's a 50-50 fight. And I wouldn't be surprised if Devin Haney wins the fight either. I think we forget how good a fighter Haney was. Now, if you don't forget, by the way, this is at welterweight, so 147, his first fight at the weight. So he sort of went from 135, had 2 or 3 fights at 140, and now he's at 147. Now, is it going to be good for him to be really big and strong and healthy at 147? Let's not forget, he goes up to about super middleweight on fight night. So is it going to actually work in his favour to be at 147? We can see the real Devin Haney, not the weight-drained Devin Haney. Or is it just a matter of, as I say, a good big man beating a good smaller man? I'm with you. I think he can win. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins either. I'll have a little bit more of a think about it as we get closer to the fight, Drew. But I 100% agree with you. I'm surprised that so many people have said it's just an easy fight for Norman. He'll knock Haney out. Far from it. Haney is a very, very good fighter. Not the most exciting fighter, but again, you don't have to be. You just got to win. You just got to win the rounds. I think his speed and movement, I think, might confuse Brian Norman. Yes, the threat is always there that Norman might land one. I just think Haney is smart enough to evade him and give him a real hard fight. So, Tony, back in the day, Mark Jackson challenged Ronnie Andrews. I remember that, Tony. And he actually trained in my brother's gym in Ringwood. Super gym. I remember that gym, yeah. He sure was loud, annoying, and even the trainer, Mick, was fed up with him. Yeah. Was that Mick Canavan, Tony? Is that who you talking about in Ringwood? I used to go and spar at that gym all the time myself. I think I've said that on here before. Mick Canavan, one of the greatest blokes in boxing you'll ever meet. No longer with us, unfortunately. But I got along very, very well with Mick back in the day. When I was only a kid, I was probably 14 or 15. Always looked after my brother and I. We went down there and sparred. And he was running the boxing league at that time. He was actually the president when it broke away, the Victorian Amateur Boxing League. And always just such a fantastic bloke to me and my brother and our whole gym. So, yeah, one of the best guys you'll ever meet in boxing, mate. But I didn't know that that Mark Jackson actually trained there, mate. So, Glenn says, I think Norman bullies Haney and stops him late. Yeah, look, it's a possibility, Glenn. But as I said, I think it, again, comes down to what the extra weight means to Devin Haney. Does it help him? Or does it hinder him? Is he just a blown-up 140-pound fighter who's just going to come up against a big, strong 147-pounder in Norman? Or are we going to see a Devin Haney who's very, very healthy and strong at 147, and we see a new and improved Devin Haney? So we will see. All right, we've got a super chat from Andy. Thank you, Andy. $10. Really appreciate it, mate. Hello, boxing fans. Devin doing what Tszyu is supposed to be doing, stepping up to fight the WBO 147-pound champ Norman. Quality fight. Smash that like button, please, folks. Yes, thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate it. All right. Here we go. Great to see the Carlton fans punching on between themselves. If Rocco had hair, it would be falling out. Yeah. I didn't know. I think you said last week you'd been on the jumper punch. If you are a Carlton fan out there, I know we're all hiding under rocks at the moment or under our bed like I am at the moment, but if you are a Carlton fan, make sure you watch the jumper punch. It's on every Tuesday night. It is a laugh. It's a late one. It starts at 7 o'clock and normally goes till about 11:30. Yes, 4.5 hours I normally go for. I've been on the show a couple of times. It's a long night, but very, very entertaining. And I'm sure, Peter, there's so many more supporters of other clubs tuning at the moment, having a great laugh at all us Carlton supporters eat our own. Can you see that, the fans in the crowd punching on? They're on social media going at each other. We had if you're in Melbourne, if you listen to radio, I know there's a Carlton. I know I'm getting off track here, but there's a Carlton supporter named Snapper. Every time Carlton gets beat, he's on the radio and goes off his nut. And they had a member of the cheer squad. She had a rainbow scarf and that on, saying, "You don't speak for us, and you get out there and you do better." And they've gone at it on radio. It's pretty funny. If I wasn't a Carlton supporter, Peter, I'd find it very, very amusing. But we're the butt of the jokes at the moment, mate. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do except cop it on the chin, as I said before. So come at me with your best shot, because I got nothing. Anything that you want to throw at me, I'm going to agree with you. So give it your best shot. Oh, geez. The only thing that could maybe salvage this season, Peter, and you're not going to like this, is if Collingwood make the grand final and get beat. Now, I don't care who they play. They could play GWS. They could play the Gold Coast. I really could not give a toss. That's the only thing that will make this year semi-okay, is if Collingwood lose the grand final. But I'm sure you wouldn't expect any different from a Carlton supporter. But, hey, mate, good luck to you. I've got nothing bad to say about Collingwood. I just wish we were more like them. All right, Shadow Boxer. Fundora saying in an interview that Tim was looking him in the eyes the whole time and doesn't believe the cut had any effect. It was strange to hear, almost delusional, which seemed out of character. I didn't see that there, mate. So I say that again. He was looking... Tim was looking him in the eyes the whole time and doesn't believe the cut had any effect. Okay, on the result. Okay, well, only an idiot would say that, of course. 100% it had an effect on the result. Well, or did it? Maybe, who knows? Maybe if the fight the cut didn't happen, they would have fought for 12 rounds and Fundora might have won on points, mightn't have had any difference. But I disagree there. I think you're right, mate. He's delusional. 100% it had an effect. The guy was blind for 10 rounds. Anyway, all right. Costa got stopped by Vince Phillips and come back better than ever. A little bit different this one, though, Andrew. You remember that fight with Vince Phillips? He just got worn down. Remember he kept throwing those big overhand rights. And I just think it just wore Costa down as the fight went on. He was exhausted. He just couldn't get out of the way of those right hands and got stopped on his feet in the corner. Tim Tszyu actually, I suppose, did get stopped on his feet as well, didn't he? But he got obliterated. So it's a little bit different, but you're probably right there that both had devastating losses, and you're right, Costa came back. And to some extent, Tim's come back, sort of. He looked good in his last fight, but can he get the job done in the championship fight that's coming up? We'll see. Norman not beating Haney. Yep, good call, Peter. Rayleigh Frame. How are you, Rayleigh? Evening all. Do you think Tim will need the KO? Fighting in US as if it's a close fight, they most likely give it to Fundora depending on the judges. No, I don't think so, Rayleigh. Nah, I think there'll be neutral judges anyway. I think he'll be okay. I mean, I thought the first fight, the Fundora won the fight. I think on the night, even though, in the crowd watching it, I thought that Fundora had done enough. And no disrespect to Tim about it, he just couldn't see. So I thought Fundora did enough. I thought he won 7 rounds to 5 for the fight. But it was a split decision. One of the judges went for Tim Tszyu. So I don't know about the judge. Is there an Australian and an American judge, or they're all neutral? I'm not sure. But either way, I think he'll be fine, Rayleigh. You tend to find in those big fights over there, that a fight of that magnitude, it'll be fine. Touch wood. Oh, I just lost my mouse there. Touch wood. I'll touch it now. All right, who else we got there? Drew. The Nikita delay is becoming something of a major concern. Not sure if he is about scheduled again, but these kind of delays really can erode careers. Well, he's booked in for August the 20th, mate, so it's all good. Saw someone else has probably mentioned it there, but August 20, probably in Sydney, I would think. So I think he'll go to Vegas for the fight. Apparently, I don't know whether you've seen this. It's an article that came out ages ago. His grandfather, Boris, is the one that he's normally when he fights in Australia, he's the one that gets delegated to doing probably the worst job on the team, and that is if Tim needs to go to the bathroom, he has to hold the old fella for him, give it a shake at the end of it, and put it back in his pants if Tim's got his gloves on. It does the same for Nikita too, apparently. But Nikita, I think they were talking, they may be joking about it, that he's going to get that job over there. I don't think Nikita's going to want to do that job, and I think you'll say to Tim, mate, you're on your own. You're going to have to hold it with your gloves on. And yes, it does happen. If you're wondering out there, if you've never actually had a fight, before you go out there, it's very, very common to need to go to the toilet. I wasn't always too bad. Even if I needed to go out before I just went out there, it's normally a nervous one. Excuse me. So by the time you actually get in the ring, it's actually dissipated. I have seen fighters that unfortunately need the number 2 and have to make a run for it, and they're in all sorts. But I was lucky in that way. So does anyone want the job? I'm sure they'll probably pay for someone to go over and or be part of the team to hold Tim's old fella. Not sure what the job description would that be, though, or that would be. But anyway, if you want the job, maybe apply online on the Facebook page or something. All right, Glenn. Not sure what you see in Haney. Garcia beat him stupid, and now he's up against a real 147 who's big for the size, can punch and has some skills. Not sure how Haney deals with that. Yeah, no, you make a good point, Glenn. But don't forget, Devin Haney also beat Vasily Lomachenko, who's, I think, a lot better fighter than Brian Norman. Now, I know the return argument will be, yeah, but this is at 147. I get that. But sometimes it's not all just about weight, which is the argument that Terence Crawford using against Crawford. If you're good, you're good. Doesn't matter what weight you're at. And he's probably right to some extent. You get a welterweight in there that goes pretty well. Put him in with a heavyweight that's only average. Doesn't matter. There's 50 pounds between them. The little welterweight's going to beat them every time. So I'm not that big on the size, Glenn. And as I said, this is the Devin Haney. Regardless of what you think of George, he schooled George twice after coming off wins over that win over TFML Lopez. Had some other really good wins as well. Actually, I'll just bring up his record just quickly. And I've just got faith, mate, that I know the Ryan Garcia fight was not great. But, geez, it's the only bad fight he's ever had in his career. And I just think Ryan Garcia, he's just had the kryptonite to whatever Haney's got. Sometimes it happens. So, all right. So, before the Garcia... So, beating Ryan... Prograis, obviously Lomachenko, Kambosos twice. Jorge Linares, Gamboa. He's beaten some good fighters. So, yeah, that's what I sort of go by, mate. He can fight. Now, I'm not saying he will beat Norman. I'm just saying he can beat him. Norman is a beast, but we haven't really seen him in there with anyone like Haney either. And I think if Haney turns up with the weight being a positive, him being healthy and everything else, I think he's going to be okay. The only other, as I said before, the flip side is if he turns up and he's a little bit top heavy and can't move as well, that's when you might see Norman get to him. But Peter, what's that? Nectar disagrees. Haney has made a big mistake taking the Norman Jr. fight, so you agree with Glenn. That's cool. All right, great month coming up. Curious on everyone's opinion on a few of the fights. Feel free to skip over them if they're annoying. Neeks versus Metcalf. Tough one for Neeks, Naz. Very winnable for Neeks, in my opinion. It's winnable, but I think I'd still probably have to go with Metcalf at this stage, mate. Norman manhandles him, says Glenn. Taylor Serrano. I've got Taylor doing it again. Wouldn't surprise me, Naz, but I'm gonna back Serrano. She deserves to get a win. I think she's been really unlucky in both fights so far. I think the first fight was 50-50. Could have gone either way. Draw, split decision either way. And then the second fight, look, I think Taylor won the fight, but all those headbutts and stuff, I think she should have had at least 1, if not 2 points deducted. And even been on the brink of disqualification. And I'm a big fan of Katie Taylor, but it was pretty much the 1-2 headbutt. So I just think Serrano was really hard done by in that fight. And I think they've made a lot of noise in the lead up to this fight. So I wouldn't be surprised if the referee is on headbutt watch. And any chance they get, they'll try and stamp it out, which then unsettles Taylor and gets Serrano's crew exactly what they want. And that's to have some focus on her head. And no matter how you describe it, as good as Katie Taylor is, she does lead with her head. She always has. She's a little bit all over the place. She's obviously super talented, but she can be a bit awkward. So it's look, I don't really care who wins it, to be honest, Naz, but I've got a feeling Serrano might get the job done this time. And then will we see Taylor Serrano 4? We'll see. And then if Serrano wins that one, we might get a fifth one, a number 5. So, all right. Glenn says Serrano. All right, Ray Lee. Fundora seems different in his interviews this time around. He's more confident and hoping the background fight didn't expose Tim, and hope Tim worked on the flaws. I think Tim can do it. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of his interviews, Ray Lee, just some snippets here or there. I mean, I don't really watch a lot of interviews, if I'm being honest, unless someone sends it to me to have a look at. Seeing there's some good stuff in there. A lot of them just say the same old stuff, and they repeat the same old thing time after time after time. So who'd want to be a reporter? There you go. Speaking of reporters... Jay McAllister, boxing and MMA. Make sure you follow Jay, by the way, guys. one of the best YouTube channels on YouTube, and always gets the big interviews. All right, how many full-time fighters would you say there is in Australia? From your experience, how do those on the fringes get by financially? A breakdown on personal sponsorships could be a topic. Good question, Jay. Full-time fighters in Australia, not many. I would think a dozen, not many. Or you got your ear to the ground in the fight game as well. A lot of these guys are only earning 5, 10, maybe 12,000, maybe 15 if it's a biggish type of fight. Then they've got training expenses to give cuts to the managers and trainers and all that sort of stuff. It's not easy, Jay. I would think maybe a dozen. I would think. I mean, a lot of them I know have sponsorship and stuff, but I can't. A dozen might even be pushing it. So it's a good topic there, mate. How do those on the fringes get by financially? Well, I think a lot of it's sponsorship, family, maybe do a little bit. A lot of them do personal training and all that sort of stuff. A breakdown. Yeah, it's not a bad topic, mate. We'll look at it. And I know I'm not sure whether you commented further down there, Jay, but let us know, mate. If you're going to be in Vegas, I would love to know if you're there. It'd be good to catch up again, mate. I'm assuming you will be, since you are, you're on good terms with the No Limit boys, and they need someone over there to make them look good in their interviews. So I hope you're over there, mate. And if you are, as I said, make sure you message me. It'd be great to catch up for a coffee or a burger like we did last time. All right, Drew. I'm not liking the whole no Tom and Jerry narratives from Turkey. Sometimes you get good fights, sometimes bad, but I'm concerned fighters might start abandoning the natural styles and strengths. I agree, Drew, and it's probably being a little bit more old school. I couldn't give a shit whether they box, run, whatever. I'll choose to watch or I won't. I don't like this whole thing that, well, if you want to be on my cards and you must stand and fight. I just think he's reading the room wrong. He's listened to or read a lot of some negative comments about those fights from a couple of months ago. That's not what boxing shows normally are. I think that was just an anomaly. I think there was just bad matchmaking, bad mixes of fighters against each other, and it blew up in their faces. It just so happened they were all that one weekend. Went for all the fights in New York to the Canelo fight. I just think it was just one of those anomalies that happen sometimes. But that same weekend, we had Inoue in an absolute war. So I didn't see anyone sort of complaining about that. But yeah, I'm with you there, mate. I don't want to have, look, someone like, say, a Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson. All right, okay. I'm probably not going to go out of my way, to watch them. But at the end of the day, like Shakur Stevenson and Zepeda, well, I don't want Shakur Stevenson pretty much bullied into being, to brawling with Zepeda. I mean, that just takes away his natural abilities. I want to see him try and outbox Zepeda. I want to see Haney try and outbox Norman. I don't want him to take him on in a slugfest. So for them to sort of be threatened with having to fight, hand to hand or man to man, or whatever you might want to call it, or be off the cards, I don't agree with it. If I don't want to watch, I won't watch. End of the day, if those fighters come up against other good fighters, then people are going to pay to see it. Everyone used to criticise Floyd Mayweather, but guess what? He had, 4 of the top 5 pay-per-views of all time. So let's not get too excited about it, but I agree, Drew. Yep, keep up the good work, or the great work, Jay. Yes, he's killing it, shadow boxing. Again, if you don't follow him, make sure you do. Yes, I'm getting those pre-fight jitters too. Glenn says, with you, Drew, who's he to tell people how they should fight? I'm a bit over Turkey. I've been over him for a long time, mate. All right. Both Canelo and Crawford were both treading water to get the wins in order to get each other in their last fights. Ignore both fights as a barometer for this one. Yep. Said that earlier. Drew, 100%, mate. All right, Richard. Apparently, Tszyu and Pilcher is a title fight. So not sure if Pedro lost the belt. I'm out of the loop on this one. What belt did he have? Because it's not the heavyweight title, is it? The other Ivic or whoever's got that title, hasn't he? I'm not sure. Wouldn't that, was it a WBC regional belt? I'm not sure. I don't know, Richard. I don't know much about it. I did see that Pedro had pulled out, but all I thought, read was it something to do with contracts or something. So, who would have won in their prime, Mike Tyson or David Tszyu? Mike Tyson, Tony. Yep, similar styles. I think Mike was faster than David Tszyu. There'll be some bombs showing. I just think he's a little bit smarter, a little bit better defense, Mike Tyson, and I think he would land the bigger bombs, and I think he'd beat David Tszyu. Maybe with dream fights, maybe it's another thing we can do, guys. Like purely a request a request segment. We'll get 10 of the best dream fights, send them in, and we'll judge what I think are the 10 best ones, and we'll put those on an episode as well. That's not a bad one though, Tony. Prime Tyson, far too explosive and powerful early on. Tszyu was frightening. He was. Not so sure he would go that well against a similar type of fighter who was faster than him though. Richard, he was frightening against those bigger guys. I don't think he'd get that same leverage and everything that he got against those bigger guys against someone like Mike. I think Mike, as I said, similar styles, but I think Mike being better on his feet, faster hands, better technique, I think he'd be a bit too much for David Tszyu. All right, Drew, call me crazy, but when you put the popularity contest aside, I actually thought Serrano beat Taylor in both of the fights and certainly the second fight. Yep, as I said before, Drew, thought the first one could have gone either way, and I thought... Serrano. Well, Taylor should have definitely had points taken off, which would have given the win to Serrano. What were the scores from memory? Let's just have a quick look. All right, Katie Taylor. All right, the last scores were 95-94, 95-94, 95-94. So there you go. So with, even 1 point taken away, it would have been a draw, and 2 points would have seen it go Serrano's way, but just close fights. What was the other one they fought? The first fight was 96-93 and 97-93 for Katie Taylor and 96-94 for Serrano. So, yeah, we're going to be in for a great fight, guys. Shadowboxer, I have a feeling Serrano takes it out of the judges' hands this time. Yeah, I want to see a win, Shadowboxer. I really do. And I love Katie Taylor, but I want to see Serrano win. I don't want her to have 3 losses to Katie Taylor on there, especially if it's a close one. I don't mind people saying Taylor the first time, but definitely not the second. Yep. All right, Naz, I've got Shakur being too good defensively for Zepeda. Belunga, unfortunately, too heavy-handed for Shiraz. Puello, too cagey for Matthias. And Morel, too skilled for Kadaev. Yeah, good call there, Naz. All right, Big J. Just for context, old mate said something to the missus and tried to get handsy. Ooh. So he got KO'd. His mate rushed up saying, what the hell, and was being bad-mannered, so he got an early night sleep as well. Big J. Well, Jay's in the chat there, Big J. Now's the chance to throw the challenge out to him, mate. Let's go. I didn't think you had that in you, Big J. I thought you had a big heart. But again, when it comes to the better half, I don't blame you, mate. I would have done the same thing. All right, Naz, if Kadaev puts on a good showing, he gets his name out there, though. Yeah, he probably does. Yeah, it's a strange fight to take, though, Naz. I'm really surprised they've taken Dave Morrell at this point of his career. Kadaev, look, he's a good prospect. Maybe what they've decided to do, because he's not young, is he? I think he's late 30s or something. Maybe what they've decided to do is just throw him in there, roll the dice. He's either going to have it or he's not. If he wins, straight into world title calculations. If he loses, well, it was worth the risk. So probably not a bad thing. All right, Drew. I went to a bare knuckle fight and ordered a knuckle sandwich with my beer. Did you really go to a bare knuckle fight, or are you just joking there? Yep, 8-0. Yep, I like the predictions too. David. Hey, mate, I've just got a feeling Tim loses by TKO. Hope not, though. Thanks for tuning in, by the way, David. I'm not quite sure I've seen you in the comments before. Well, there you go. Well, hey, it's we all love Tim, but you've got to have an opinion, and I respect it, mate. So, okay. As I said before, I think it's 50-50. I still get, well, it can't be 50-50. I think Tim wins. Probably 55-45 for Tim. But, mate, that's your opinion, and that's cool. Usyk to take Dubois apart. I don't know, Naz. I'm hoping he does, but I just get the feeling Dubois is going to be better than the first time. Though, having said that, Usyk did stop him, didn't he? So we will see. I think Dubois has got a puncher's chance against Usyk, Naz. So it's going to be a good one. What time is it? So I just want to check the time in England at the moment. So let's just say it's London. I just want to see what time the fight's going to be on in Vegas. Oh, yeah, London. All right, so at the moment, they are 8 hours in front. Oh, that's going to be good. London is 8 hours ahead of... Is that right? So 17 hours behind. London's only... Okay, so London is 8 hours ahead of Las Vegas. So that means if it's on, let's say, the main events or the card starts at, say, 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, it's going to be like 11 o'clock in the morning. How good's that? That's the day of... is that the day... Is that... Or am I thinking the next day? To when Tim fights. So the 8... Oh, I don't know. Geez, all these... I feel like I'm in Back to the Bloody Future at the moment. All right. So, okay. So we're going back. Okay. All right. So it'll be during the day of Tim and Manny's fight. I think I've got that right. I feel my head's spinning now. I've got a headache. But, yeah. So it sounds like I'll be good to watch it about lunchtime on the Saturday, which will be awesome. Good run into the fights that night. All right, Drew. I listened to Shane Mosley recently talking in an interview. Sadly, his speech sounds like it's in steady decline. Yeah, it's not good, Drew. We all talk about the wars these fighters have, but the sparring also takes its toll. 100%, Drew, mate. I can back that up. I know a lot of fighters that cop more in sparring than in fighting. In the fight, you got to remember when they spar, they might spar 100 to 150 rounds. That's a lot of rounds, and it's a lot of punches to take. Even though you got the head guards and the bigger gloves on, it means nothing. If your head's getting knocked around, it's getting knocked around, and then they have the fight. Sometimes, as you said there, the wars in sparring take more out of them than the actual fights. So, yeah, but Shane Mosley, mate, not good. When did I see him? Wasn't he interviewed by before the fight the other day? I think Drew with Rob. I didn't watch it, but I did see it come up there, and I might have seen a clip about it. So good get by Robert before the fight. All right, trying to be logical and pick Barrios, but nostalgia keeps rearing its head for Pac-Man. Surely it's Barrios. Tim to break Fundora down over 9 or 10 rounds. Yeah, I think Barrios wins, Naz. I think he probably wins on points, maybe even a late round stoppage. I think not to say that Barrios is anything special. Mate, he's 46 years old. And if you're 46, you're 46. Whether you're Manny Pacquiao, whoever, it doesn't matter. It's 46 years of age. So I just think Barrios wins that fight. Yep, Bam, far too good for Cafu and picks up the WBO. Pacheco KOs Macumbi. Agree with you there, Naz. Good calls there, mate. Kentucky and other international promoters and figureheads stop giving big fighters tune-ups before their big fights. We've seen the main course burnt too many times. Yes. Certainly have, mate. We certainly have. Obviously, a month or two back with Ryan Garcia, wasn't it? All right, Perez will give Zayas a hard 12 rounds but lose. He looked good against Charles Conwell. He did look good in that fight, Naz, didn't he? Shoo in a showcase and Emilio Vargas. Yeah, good Vargas. Destroys an old Jalen Tate victim in Espinosa on the undercard. I didn't know that there, Naz. That won't be a bad fight either. I'm with you. I give Perez a good shot at winning, but I'm going to stick with Zayas. I think he wins a really, like you said there, a hard-fought 12-round decision. Was that Melbourne cold weather wouldn't compare with Canberra? No, it wouldn't, mate. Yeah, I thought we were bad here. Canberra takes the cake. All right, will you be doing much on your channel on your trip or strictly pleasure? No, I'll be doing a lot, Ado. Every day there'll be a video that gets put up with my daily whereabouts and what I'm up to. So it'll be like the first couple of days are normally a little bit dull because it's me traveling, especially the first day. It's literally me traveling. But after that, it'll be every day what I get up to the day. I upload it at night, well, early morning probably over there when I'm there. I'm not quite sure what time it is here, but keep a lookout for it. And I'm probably going to I might do a preview of the fights if I get time, especially the Las Vegas fight. And I'll probably do a live after the Tszyu Pacquiao doubleheader 8-0. So if you are watching that day, guys, on main event or whatever it's on, I think it's main event, isn't it? Keep a lookout. I'll probably do it a couple of hours after the event, so I'll be in the afternoon on that Sunday. So I'm not sure whether people will tune in or not, but rather than me just doing a review of the fight, I'll do it live and everyone can jump on straight after the fight. So if the main event's finished by about 2 o'clock, I'll probably be on sort of 3:30, 4 o'clock that afternoon here. So I'll get on there and everyone can come on and have their say. We might even, I'm not sure how we'll go over there. We might even see if we can about giving you guys the ability to actually come on the show. And I think I've spoken about it in the past. That's how this show was actually going to be. It was me talking to you guys, with you guys actually coming on. But we have so many comments coming through that I thought we'd just stick to this concept. But over there, if the Wi-Fi is good enough and everything, and the reception's good, we might give you guys the ability to come on the show and talk about your thoughts of the fight. So keep a lookout for that there, Ado. But yeah, there'll be plenty happening there, mate. Big Joe, mate. Were you even old enough to drink the last time Carlton won the flag? Just curious. By the way, the hand is fine, but I doubt those blokes' faces are. Well, good on you there, mate. Well, to think that that was 1995 was when we won the first premiership. I was still well and truly in my prime there, mate. I was 20. What was I? 22 years old. Hadn't gone to the Olympics yet, mate. All the Commonwealth Games. That to me seems another lifetime ago. That was our last flag, so not great, mate. And I thought after that, how many flags are we going to win? This is a super team. We won the. We didn't win. We made the grand final in '99, and that was it. Preliminary final in 2000, and that is literally it for the Blue Baggers after that. Big J. All right. What do you care anyway? You're a rugby league man, aren't you? Hi, mate. I think Tim should do exactly what he did last time with Fundora, but move his head. Good call, David. Not bad. Yes, Mick Canavan. He put in a young fellow with superb hands, Doug McKay, to spar Jacko. I don't think I remember Doug McKay. Doug handed him an attitude adjustment and then reneged on a deal he had with one of his cars in his car yard. Okay. I think they get a bit of reality check, don't they? This was probably the days before the YouTube thing happened, wasn't it? Was Jacko. Tim doesn't move his head. It's not his thing. Well, let's hope he moves a little bit this time, Glenn. Just saw you delivering a liver punch on the Blues podcast. Yeah, I did, mate. Yeah, with the boys down there. He wanted me to give him a shot to the liver. It's a little bit different to when you're actually preparing for it, though, AI. When you're sitting there and you're tensing for it, you know it's coming. You get, still might hurt a bit, but the thing that makes a body shot what it is and so effective is when you don't see it coming. So, all right, but it was pretty funny. They're good guys on there. And again, check out the jumper punch. All right, Canelo fights a little guy, but won't fight the big guy Benavidez, and I believe would be bigger money. No, I don't think the money will be bigger, David, against Benavidez and fighting Crawford. That's his biggest payday. But I'm with you. If I'm being honest, David, I don't think Canelo really wanted this fight with Crawford. I think it's Turki Al-Sheikh just giving him an offer he couldn't refuse. It's him saying, hey, mate, I'm going to give you, 70, 80, 90 million, whatever the hell it's going to be. He's not getting that against Benavidez, mate. So that's purely for money. That's all. All right, I have Usyk beating Dubois again, but mate, no mistake, excluding the controversy from the first fight, Dubois has improved, and I think Usyk will be significantly tested. I'm with you, Drew. I wouldn't be surprised if Dubois upsets Usyk, but I'm just backing our man Usyk that he gets the job done. And what a resume. Dubois twice, Fury twice, Joshua twice. Just crazy. All right, skills does pay the bills, but it only takes one punch to land right and shows over. Justice versus Worldy and Schofield versus Farmer are recent examples of early or late. Yes, spot on there. Andy, I'll never forget the time Juan Manuel Marquez said that he drank his own urine. Yes, I remember that too, Richard. All right, Kana is at the Blues. Still got a few games left, and there is still a path to the finals, mate. Geez, Dean, you're a more optimistic man than what I am. They've won 6 games, mate. They've got 7 to go. They've got to win 13. Well, that would only give them 13 wins. And at the moment, what is it? Even like the 9th ranked team has 10 wins. So we aren't making it, mate. But I appreciate your enthusiasm. All right, Ryan. G'day, mate. What do you got? Great show. Love tuning into your channel, especially the Monday live. Just wondering if you still move around the canvas, hitting the pads and the like. I don't do that, Ryan, but I still train 5 days a week. I've got my own gym here at home. I've got a ring and bags and all that sort of stuff. And, we've got a weight. I don't use weights and that sort of stuff, but my sons do. But, I've got a fully set up gym, mate. I'm the only one that uses it, but it's got a proper ring, a few bags, got a box master and all that sort of stuff. And I do it 5 days a week. It's been a bit hard with this. Been a lot of just doing a lot of stuff without actually hitting the bag. So I've done my normal routine, but just in the ring, sort of doing it without hitting the bag, if that makes sense. Been very, very frustrating. But, mate, I've a little bit of OCD. If I don't train 5 days a week, I'm a bit of a mess after that. So I've just always been that way. But, look, I won't say I train like I used to, Ryan. I just go to how I feel comfortable. I don't exert too much into it. I'm over 50 now, so I don't want to be too sore or anything else, or maybe give the heart something to think about. But no, I just enjoy what I do, mate, and I go as hard as how I'm feeling, which is probably how most people should train. If you're not actually training for competition, don't push yourself past your limits. Just enjoy it. Go to where you feel comfortable, and you'll actually feel like training. If you're forcing yourself to go hard every time you train, you're going to be sore, you're going to be tired, you're not going to enjoy it. And at the end of the day, it will probably happen at the end is you just stop training. So that's my little bit of advice. Train, no matter what it is, boxing, whatever it is, train to enjoy it and just go to the point where you're comfortable, and that's it. And you'll actually enjoy and look forward to doing it. And I love doing it, Ryan. I still look forward to it every day. Wondering if you watched Eubank versus Conor Benn. I did. Second fight got announced. Also wondering if you watched the father's fight. I did back in the day, Aaron. I think the fights between the seniors were probably better than Eubank and Conor Benn, but for where they both are in the world scheme of things, I thought it was actually not a bad fight between the two juniors. But yeah, you can't beat the rivalry of the dads, mate. All right. Remember, Lennox said it takes more than a bad haircut and a left hook to beat me. I do remember that. Oh, Ryan, surely you jest. Lennox Lewis versus Jake Paul. Yep. I'm hoping you're joking. Actually looking forward to the Belunga-Shiraz fight, but totally agree. It definitely shouldn't be the main event. I'm backing Belunga, but really keen to see how Shiraz goes. Yeah, I'm a similar sort of perspective there, Daniel. I'm looking to see whether Shiraz is a real deal. He looked really bad in that last fight with Adames, so let's see if he's actually got what it takes. Going up in weight as well, so maybe he can show a little bit more. All right, some say Katie Taylor is the GOAT of ladies boxing. I agree. She fights similar to a GOAT. I don't mind that one, Tony. Yep, and you thought that was funny. All right, McAllister hasn't got the balls to get in the ring with me, and everyone knows it. He's too busy hiding behind his mother's dress. Where are you, Jay? Come on. All right. Big J, I agree. You got Jay's measure. I'd pay to see that fight. Get the Rose brothers on board. Yes. I've been trying to get the chump in the ring for 2 years. He's still ducking. I'll smack him out just as quick as those blokes in the club on Friday night. Where are you, Jay? Let's see a bit of a comeback there, mate. All right. Worked with an ex-Carlton player, an English fellow who could have been an excellent boxer, Paul Meldrum. Was he English? I used to love Paul Meldrum. Number 23, played in the 1987 Premiership. What a player he was, Paul Meldrum. I didn't know he was English. There you go. But a part of our mosquito fleet back in the day, Tony. I used to love Paul Meldrum. He could kick a goal, that's for sure. Big call. Tim KO's Fundora in 5. Okay. What about the cage, Big J? I hear Jay's has some mean grappling. Well, Naz. Big J versus J with Glenn versus Batman on the undercard. Lynden versus Little Shit Shoplifter as co-main. Yeah. I had my chance with him, Naz. I think I told the story, but when I had him, I sort of forgot where I was. There was people watching me. There's a car for the, I don't know who they were, carloads for the girls, I think. But what are you doing? What are you doing to him? So I had him in a headlock. And what are you doing? Leave him alone. I said, yeah, he's a friggin' dirtbag shoplifter. And then these two ladies come out the house and they were like, well, here's what's going on. And I forgot what was going on. I'm talking to everyone. I forgot that I had him in a headlock and all that got the tap. Bro, I can't breathe. They're like, shit, that could have been a really nasty situation. Me with a shoplifter if the cops had to come. But anyway, I did let him go, by the way, guys. I didn't even call the cops. Wasn't even worth it. I think I've got all the comments here. We're up to date. What have we got? About 20 minutes to go. I'm up to date. What else we got? Let's look at the schedule. All right. What's going on here in Australia? Anything coming up? Hang on. I'll get Australia up. I'm sure there'll be more comments coming, but I'll get some comments, some fights, the schedule. All right. So next Wednesday is a Terziewski Troy Pilcher card. Clay Waterman, that'll be a good fight, actually. Mosey Yamatama Jr., he good fighter. I promoted him back in the day. Sonny Bill Williams, Paul Gallen, so another one. David Nyika, really good to see him back. Alex Leopold Jr., good fight. Raheem Mundine, there he is, fighting Joe Vatasquata, 1-4. All right, then the following Saturday, there's a show. Where's that? Warwick Farm. Where the hell is that? Is that New South Wales? What other fights we got coming up? Oh, there you go. July 19th, Will Tomlinson show, Jason Malia, Lewis Chadwick. If you're watching, Will, apologies for missing your call today, mate. I'll give you a yell tomorrow. Before I go, Xavier Fletcher, Dominic Molinaro, Australian middleweight title, Max Reeves, Abdul Rahim, Australian super middleweight title, Cesar Afakan, good little fighter against Sonny Abid. Adrian Paoletti, really good guy is Adrian, ex-amateur star. He's on the card, and then we've got that same night in Ballarat, Victor Nagby's card. I've never seen a show in Ballarat before, so it'd be good. Ibrahim Balla is on that card. Chanel Dargan. Should be a good card. All right. Richard, how many people live in Birchip? Oh, how'd that come up? Birchip. That's where I was born. Let me have a look. All right. What do we got? Birchip. How many people? I've never been back there, Richard, if I'm being honest. How many people does it have? So 320 Ks from Melbourne. I don't know. Doesn't say. No idea. Hang on. Is there a Wikipedia? Hang on. There it is. Birchip, Victoria. Geez, it's real riveting TV here, isn't it? How many people has it got? Interesting story. I actually met a lady at the pub about 3 weeks ago who was also born in Birchip. So she was born, and then 3 years later, I was born. I was the first baby born after her. There's a little bit of really need to know information. All right, where's the population? It doesn't actually say. History. I don't know. We'll move on. Hang on. About 800 people. There you go, Richard. About 800. What else we got? Big J. Ring or the cage? McAllister is going to sleep. Yeah, let's get the likes up. We've got 56 people watching at the moment, which is great. And thanks to every one of you, 56 people watching. And also, forgot to say it at the start of the show, thanks also to the people that are listening to this after the fact on Spotify. I've had some really good numbers on Spotify. A lot of people say they listen to it in the car or when they're training or whatever it might be. Maybe at work with the earphones on, I don't know. But I really appreciate everyone that tunes in. All right, Drew. What's happened with Keith Thurman? Radio silent since his Jarvis fight. Yes, I did comment about that as well, Drew. Now, apparently Tim was interviewed, must have been before he got to Vegas, or maybe it's since he's been in Vegas, and he said he would like to fight Keith Thurman next. So, but I'm with you. We've heard nothing. I would have thought that Keith would have come out with something just to keep us talking about him, but absolutely nothing. So, yeah, I don't know, mate. But as I said, Tim has said that he would still like to fight Keith Thurman, so I'm sure it will happen. I think I've got a feeling if he does beat Fundora, unless there's a rematch with Fundora, I've got a feeling it still could be Keith Thurman next, mate. So, did I ever compete in the Masters? No, Shadow Boxer. Never had the desire either, too, if I'm being honest, mate. I did train a fighter, what was it, 2012. I had a guy who was a friend, and he wanted to have a fight. Never had one. He trained for X amount of time and wanted to get in there and have a proper fight. So we put him in the Masters. He was in his mid-40s. No, what was he? About 40, I think. I can't remember. Too old to be in proper boxing anyway. But I trained him up, and we went to Adelaide, and he had a fight over there. And I was really surprised at the quality of the fighters there. And I remember seeing Attila Fogus there. He beat Lester Ellis back in the day. He was actually lighter than what he was than when he was fighting in the pros. He was welterweight in the pros, and he fought at light welter as a master. So, but look, I don't know, Shadow Boxer. I've seen some of the stories or heard some of the stories of fighters keeling over and having heart attacks. Wouldn't want that, mate. And the other thing is, what happens if you run into someone and you walk into a punch and you get KO'd or something? Wouldn't exactly be a nice claim to fame, would it? Ex-Olympian, ex-Commonwealth Games boxer knocked out by novice. Not a great way to be remembered, mate. So I think I'll just live with my little bit of fame and be happy with that, mate. So I used to love sparring though, Shadow Box. When I had my gym, I used to do a bit of sparring with my boys. I used to like that, but they don't hit you for real. So not for me, mate. I respect all the people that do it. The one thing I'll say about the Masters though is that one thing I don't like about it is apparently anyone can enter as long as you meet the criteria as far as I think age and weight and all that stuff goes. I mean, imagine if someone, like a Justin Crawford or a Robbie Peden or a Rick Temperi said, well, I'll go in the Masters, and they come up against some guy who's done boxercise for 6 months and wants to have a fight. I mean, that's the only thing I don't like about it. Let's hope they've sort of tightened the security strings on that one a little bit, and they don't allow that to happen. But I have heard some of the boys that I went away with talk about maybe having Masters fights. I'm thinking, what about the poor guys they get in with? So anyway, especially maybe Robbie Peaton, who used to knock people out for fun, getting in there with some boxer-sized guy wouldn't be good. All right, what day trips have you got planned for the US? All right, so a quick rundown of my itinerary, Naz. So I fly from Melbourne to Dallas. I get there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm going to stay overnight in Dallas. I fly out, I think, at about lunchtime or something the next day. So to New York, that's a 4-hour flight. I get there in the sort of in the evening in New York, so I won't be doing much that day. The following day, so I've got the Thursday. I'll probably go to the weigh-in on the Thursday for the girls, and then do some stuff around the city. I want to go to a few of the maybe filming locations of like the Warriors and Seinfeld and some of the other things I've seen. And maybe there's things like the Empire State Building, all that sort of stuff. I'll find something to do. Then on the Friday, I'll go to the weigh-in for the guys, and then go to the female fights that night. Then, of course, on the Saturday, I will go to the Belunga Shiraz card. The following day, I fly from New York to Albuquerque via Dallas. I'm in Albuquerque overnight. I'm going to do the Breaking Bad tour the following morning. Then I drive down to Tombstone, which is a 6-hour drive. And then I'm there for 2 nights, and then I fly to Vegas from there. So I'm looking forward to seeing Tombstone. I was actually going to go to Lincoln. You've seen Young Guns. That's where the Lincoln County Wars were. But it's like 3 hours in the wrong direction. So it's already a 6-hour drive. So if I went that way, it'd be a 9-hour drive. So it's a bit far, but I would love to go to Lincoln. I did do some research on it online on TripAdvisor, a lot of reviews, and apparently it's only a very small little town. There's nothing to do, very minimal stuff in regards to the Lincoln Wars with Billy the Kid and Pat Garrett and everyone. So I didn't feel too bad about giving that a miss. So that's what I'm doing, mate. And then Vegas for, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So 4 nights in Vegas. I'm staying at the New York, which is straight across the road from the MGM and half the price. So, and it's a really good hotel. Some of the best little eateries in there in Vegas, in my opinion. So that's what I'm up to. What's that? Troy Waters and Tony Mundine Sr. for a dream fight. Not bad. I don't mind it. Different weights though, Andrew. Troy was 154. Tony was 160, but I don't mind it. What about, say, a Tim Tszyu again? I had him against Troy Waters in that last one we did. What about him and a Tony Mundine? Well, that wouldn't be a bad fight. What's that? Surely they give you the keys to the place. To where, Richard? To where? Sorry, I missed that one. To Vegas, you mean? Or Tony Mundine was magic to watch when boxing. Yeah, he was, Julian. A little bit different fighter to Anthony. He's more of a sort of stand-up sort of puncher, I suppose. Just unfortunately come up against Carlos Monzon, wasn't it? I mean, he could have been a world champ. Probably would be in this day and age with so many belts on the line. But back in the day, he come up against Carlos Monzon. He stopped him, I think, in 8 rounds from memory. But he was a very, very good fighter. All right. Still in mourning after the devastating Haney loss. Who do you think he fights next? A certified layup fight, but not a complete bum would be nice. Well, yeah, I don't know, Drew. It's going to set him back a little bit, you would think. I think there'll be a lot of fighters who are very hesitant about fighting Justice Haney, especially Fabio Wardley. I think he's going to just thank his lucky stars that he got out of that and just pulled that fight, that punch out. And I've watched the fight back, and I'll make a little bit of a controversial comment. That was a lucky punch. I just think he just put his head down and just threw it, and Justice Haney walked straight into it. I didn't see any setting the punch up, waiting for Haney to come in and then nail him. I just thought a guy who just, I won't say closed his eyes. He didn't go that far, but he just let one go from the fences and it landed. And I don't think he could believe how lucky he was. And I think it could actually be to Haney's detriment, Drew. It might be okay for his rating. I think he might go, because he was number 2, wasn't he? So he'll probably go back up in the ratings after the loss, if you can go up after a loss. But I think a lot of those real premium heavyweights out there will say, stuff fighting this guy, too risky. So who knows? Let's hope it's not the case. Has got one of the best teams in boxing behind him, though, in Tasman Fighter. So I'm sure he'll be fine, mate. He'll probably come back and probably fight on a Jai card at some stage, I would think. We'll see. All right. Oh, hang on, Peter. Thurman destroys Tim, and it won't be close. His levels above Tim. Oh, I've got to disagree to some extent there, Peter. Look, I'm not saying that Thurman can't beat Tim or won't beat Tim. Destroys him? Yeah, I don't know. I just think, mate, Keith Thurman was made to look extremely good against Brock Jarvis. You talk about levels, mate. If Thurman was a 10, Brock Jarvis was like a 2 or 3 compared to him. So, I mean, and even if you look at it on a true scale of 1 to 10, as far as the elite being 10 and obviously the worst being 1, I would think that Thurman's probably a solid 6.5. I would think. Unfortunately, yeah, Brock was a 2 or 3 or 2.5 or whatever. I just think Tim's a whole different proposition to Brock. Can he win? Of course he can. Of course he can. He's a former unified. He was, yeah, welterweight world champion. Of course he can beat Tim, but I don't think he destroys Tim. And I think it would be close. But either way, that's your opinion, mate, and that is fine. I heard somewhere whisper of Thurman versus Jamal. Yeah, I did hear that much. It has been a little bit quiet on that front, though. Not much has been said about it. And Jamal, who had the big announcement that he was coming back, hasn't really said much since either. So, I don't know. With those two guys, mate, anything's possible. Two of the most unreliable fighters on the planet, Thurman and Jamal, about when they're going to fight. So if it happens, great, but I'm certainly not holding my breath, mate. Not at all. Naz, I'd love Haney in against Jared, big baby Miller or Richard Torres and get his name out over in the States. I don't think Richard Torres is a good fight for him at the moment, Naz. I think that might end the same way as their Wardley fight did. Big baby Miller's not a bad fight for him, though. That's probably a better fight for him than Richard Torres, if you ask me. Certainly not Moses Otama Jr. And I don't think not Jr. I don't think Moses Otama would not want that fight either. Haney's risky. I know he's susceptible to a punch, and they don't come bigger punches than what Otama is, but I think Otama's team would say, we don't need someone who can box that well. Let's wait until we get the belt and then see what happens after that. So, but I would prefer out of those two Miller for sure, mate. What's that, Ryan? Not blowing smoke, but I'm literally surprised you don't have more likes per episode. Killing a brother. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it, mate. Well, mate, if I was up all night worrying about how many people like the page and watch the episodes, well, I'd go crazy, wouldn't I? But yeah, look, it'd be nice to have a few more, Ryan. I work pretty hard on the channel and try and be as researched as I can and try and be nice and balanced and not be too controversial and say things that upset people. But it is what it is, Ryan. I can't do anything about it, mate, so I don't worry about it now. I just hope the channel grows organically, but again, I can't twist people's arms. It does get a bit frustrating sometimes when you see some people have channels and let's just say, in my opinion, the content is questionable. And they have a lot more subscribers than what I do. But again, mate, it is what it is. I don't beat myself up about it. I just put it out there, and people say, oh, you should be doing reels and this and that. Look, I put the episodes up. I got a very, very loyal fan base, if that's what you want, or viewership, whatever you might want to call it. And I'm happy with that, mate. And if it grows, it grows. But as I said, mate, I'm not going to stay up night worrying about it. All right. Do you think the Bridgerweight division will become defunct? It seems like a complete waste of division with zero interest. I wouldn't be surprised, Drew. Is it only the WBC have a belt, or is there someone else now? I'm not quite sure. Well, is it on box? Where are we? Well, it's not on the boxing scene rankings. That's the sort of one I go to all the time. Bridgerweight's not even on there. So I would think it has zero interest, Drew, and no one gives a toss, and I think it'll go by the wayside. A few more comments before we go. Got about 10 minutes. Oh, there you go, Richard. Sorry, the keys to Birchup. Don't know who else put that place on the map. I wouldn't say I put it on the map there, mate, but I appreciate that, mate. I don't think they've had any other Olympians along the line, have they? Birchup? I should get up there one day. I know it's up north of Victoria somewhere, but I don't think I've ever been through there ever since I was born there 50-odd years ago. So, all right, I've heard Eddie Hearn say a few times he's planning a show for Australia in August. Yes, I heard that too, Naz. I think he wants Sky to fight here. Would have to be Terramona on the card. Surely too early for Haney and Sky to back up. Wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he's off that card, Naz. But Sky makes perfect sense. Well, she barely raised a sweat the other night, so that wouldn't be surprising. Terramona the same. So it does make sense. Obviously, it's not going to be Jai. Or would it? No, August. No, it'd be a bit too soon for Jai as well. But yeah, who knows? Naz, they've got a few fighters on the book, so you never know. But you would think Terramona and Sky would definitely be on that card. Yep. Lucky punch for Worley. Justice had him. Yep. Yes. Hit the, what is it? The smash the like button, folks. Subscribe, share, all that stuff. Yeah. Thanks, Andy. No worries at all, Julian. I really appreciate your comment there, mate. And I do enjoy doing it, mate. So, and look, if I can improve the channel in any way, let me know. But hey, it all just started off as just me just giving my thoughts. The shows have sort of grown organically. I didn't sit down with the master plan to do what I'm doing. I just was with this show. I was like, geez, I really like to talk some boxing, hence the name there, with people out there in boxing land. I think I've said on here a few times that we had no one. We had like 8 people viewing and all this, or 6 people viewing in the first few episodes, and it's sort of grown from there where we have 50, 60 people watching all the time. And the walking boxing's been great because we have the people that have tuned. It's just me walking nearly in the morning. I thought, while I'm going to give my thoughts on the day. And having said that, we've had 2 people give us a thumbs down. So, yeah, good on you. I hope that makes you feel better. All right. Naz, thanks for the show. Looking forward to the vlogs next week. No worries at all, mate. All right. So, the show definitely helps ease the pain of a Monday. No, it's good, guys. And, again, I really appreciate everyone that tunes in every week and gives me some great feedback. And we're at nearly 2,200, I think, subscribers. So it's great, and I really enjoy doing it every day. So, guys, look, we might just end a few minutes early. I think we've sort of said as much as we have to say. Again, of course, there'll be no shows for the next 2 or 3, it might even be 3 Mondays, actually, because I'm back on the Tuesday. Till then, we'll see you then. Make sure, again, you watch the daily vlogs. They'll be on. I can't remember exact time, but they'll be on. I'm sure you'll find them. And, walking boxing, I'll do another episode in the morning. And, again, as I said earlier, I'll do hopefully some live or 2 when I'm over there as well. So, guys, look forward to speaking to you all when I get back from the trip. And until then, enjoy the fights over the next few weeks and look forward to talking to you all about it when I get back. Thanks, guys. We'll see you then.